1969 generally is remembered for three things. In January, Joe Namath and the New York Jets beat the Baltimore Colts 16-7 in Super Bowl III, the first victory for the American Football League over the National Football League. On July 20th, Apollo 11 landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. And in October, the Miracle Mets of '69 beat the Baltimore Orioles 4-1 in the World Series. Paducah has to add a fourth to that list. The 1969 PCC Indians, the kings of junior college basketball. PCC won the tournament March 22nd in Hutchinson, Kansas, 79-76 over Robert Morris of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Indians went into the tournament with a record of 25-2. They won 4 games during a 5-day stretch by a total of 9 points. The Indians tipped off the tournament in the first game at noon on Friday. 5 days, 23 games later, they were the undisputed kings of JUCO basketball. The Indians came in, as I said, 25-2 in the first game. They beat Moberly 80-76. That was the first game of the tournament. The second game, a heart-stopper, 86-85 over the hosting Hutchinson Blue Dragons Wednesday night. After taking a day off on Thursday, PCC played in the semis on Friday night and emerged 79-78 over Burlington, and then Saturday night the finals. On the other half of the ledger, Robert Morris came into the tournament 27-0. They beat Gardner-Webb 88-83. They beat Vincennes 77-76 in overtime. Then, on Friday night in their semifinal action, they beat the Robert Morris Eagles of Carthage, Illinois, 96-91 in 3 overtimes to set up the finals between PCC and Robert Morris. Coach Sonny Hawes, your Indians were 25-2, and they beat Moberly by 4 in that first game. What do you remember about that game?
Well, of course, the first thing I remember, Glenn, is the fear, really, of Moberly, because Moberly had won more national championships. They had been to the national tournament more than anybody else. And to be honest with you, I'd preferred not to have to play them the very first game. However, we did, and we played well until near the end of the game. And I can remember they're going into a full court press, and we had a 12-point lead then. And they cut it down to either 4 or 2. And then we regained our poise and ended up winning by 4, which incidentally was the biggest point spread we had in the game.
The second game against Hutchinson, the thing I remember most is Ray Weems standing at the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1 with, 4 or 5 seconds on the clock.
Three seconds.
He looks up at the clock, and of course he's playing at home, and he sees home leading by 1, and he thinks, we're ahead by 1. I don't have to worry about this free throw.
I remember that too, and much has been written about that. As a matter of fact, he admitted that he thought his team was ahead at the time. He thought he was fouled out the top of the circle, if you remember, and went on in and scored. But they called a foul out there, so his score didn't count, but he thought it did. And however, he did miss the free throw.
Luckily.
Luckily.
Then against Burlington, you went against probably the best one-on-one player in the tournament, downtown Freddie Brown.
Oh, yes, I remember Freddie. I believe we held him to 35, if I remember. He was an outstanding basketball player, but the thing I remember most about that, Glenn, is the fact that we played as well as we'd ever played the first half. We ran out, if you remember, at halftime we were leading by 15 points. And I thought really they had the best team in the tournament, talent-wise. And then we came back after the half, and they scored 15 straight points before we scored, which tied the ball game up. I remember that well.
The biggest memory I have of that game, other than Freddie Brown, is the defensive job that Rick Ragland did on Dick Gibbs, their big 6'7", 6'8" forward.
Oh, yes.
He had the scouts drooling all over the place. He was the darling of the tournament until Rick got a hold of him.
Well, I truly believe that was the outstanding defensive part of the whole tournament, really. Later on, Gibbs went on and played professional basketball, And I think that's how and why Rick Ragland made the All-American team, was the job he did with him.
And then Robert Morris. The team came out as tight, I think, as I have ever seen them in my life. Were you surprised at that?
Well, not exactly surprised. I do remember a couple of things about that. Of course, you're in the finals of a national tournament. But the fact, I can remember when they went ahead by 12, I think it was about 19-7, that Coach Jim Peck talked to me a little bit about maybe we ought to change our game plan, and I considered it very definitely. But we decided we'd hold off just a minute, and then we started playing a little more relaxed and went on and played them the rest of the game.
We have the films of the game coming up right now. We've lost the first few minutes of the film. I'll tell you that at the point that we will join, the score is 13-5. PCC jumped on top 2-0 less than 10 seconds into the ball game when Rick Ragland hit a field goal. Then they came back and scored 3 straight field goals. Perry Johnson, their fine forward, a 6'4" sophomore, and you're going to hear this name all night long. Johnson scored to tie the game. Then Dave Worthman, the other forward, a 6'7" freshman, put them ahead 4-2. Larry Ketvertis, their 6'10" freshman center, scored, and it was 6-2. Gary Sunmaker got a free throw to make it 6-3. Ketvertis converted another fielder for an 8-3 lead. And Tom Yachnich scored Paducah's second field goal to make it 8-5, and then Johnson just went wild over a period of a couple of minutes there. He scored 2 field goals and a free throw to give him 7 of their first 13 points, and to give Robert Morris the lead 13-5. And it's at that point that we'll pick up the film with PCC in possession. They're working the ball around, and Ragland gives it out high.
Ragland's number 34.
Right, and here's Haywood Hill with the first bucket of the game. Gary Sunmaker, your starting forward, got into foul trouble in every game.
Well, that was not unlike Gary during the season. He was very aggressive.
They come down, and good hands by Haywood Hill, knocks it out of bounds, and here goes Johnson again. He knocks down the jumper from the outside.
Glenn, he was the brother of Gus Johnson, the longtime NBA player.
Right. There's Ketvertis, their big center, with the rebound on the miss, and ahead to Worthman for the layup. And that makes it 17-7. Bobby Jones with the ball out front. Bobby's number 24. Goes on the far side to Ragland.
Who's number
into
34.
Yachnich.
Yeah.
Knocked away. And again, here's Johnson.
Johnson again.
That was the point that you were behind by 12, 19-7.
Right.
But here you're going to see the start of a PCC surge. Jim Johnson in the corner, Ragland out on the side. Rick tries a long one. It's not there. Battle for it. It's picked
Good
up,
pass.
and there's Johnson.
Yeah.
Good pass
Good
from
Bobby Jones.
Bobby
Yeah.
Jones.
They were a very excellent passing team.
And the Colonials lose it. He just couldn't find the handle on it. Now it's tapped away from Jones, and they've got a fast break going, but we've got a foul called.
It's Ragland with the ball. Back to Bobby Jones. Back to Ragland. To Ragland. Bobby to Ragland again.
And Rick gets the jumper. That makes the score 19-11. We get a foul called here, and it's on Jim Johnson, sends Dave Worthman to the line, and he makes the free throw, which we don't see, but PCC has the ball now down 20-11.
Bobby Jones hits, making it 20-13.
Were you surprised that they let you play the way that you did in this tournament, in this finals? They let it get a little rough at times.
A little rougher, you think? No, I really wasn't. I thought, of course, they let them play a little more in the whole tournament. I didn't think this was any different.
This is Haywood Hill at the free throw line.
And he hits. Made it 20-14. they have written a classic on all the tournaments, and one of the things that they brought out about this game was the fact that the author of the book thought Haywood Hill should have been on that all-tournament team. Of course, I did too.
I think a lot of people would have agreed with you on that.
He's only 6'2", and you can see he's playing right there in the middle against the 6'10" guy.
You're going to see him out jump the 6'10" man. He missed the layup, but he gets the tip on the follow. Here's Rick Ragland with the steal. Bobby Jones brings it up. That's Rex Bailey in the corner. Back out to Jones.
Oh, did we give Bailey's number as number 10?
He's number 10. I think Haywood took that shot from the side that didn't go. We pick up a foul on Rex Bailey. Rick Ragland with a long one. That'd be a 3 today.
It sure would. I'd love to have that three-point play back during that team. Yeah,
here's Dave Worthman, their 6'7" freshman, gets a rebound and scores, and that's the first field goal for Robert Morris in 3.5 minutes, and their lead at that point was 22-18. PCC had cut it to 20-18. Bailey to Ragland, to Jim Johnson. In on the post to Bobby. Johnson gets it back, and we've got a foul on Worthman. Jim Johnson converts the free throw. Makes it 22-19. Short jumper won't go. Another foul on Worthman. I was glad to see that.
I was too, because he's a very good player.
Johnson gets another free throw, and it's 22-20 with 8.5 minutes left in the first half.
Probably should point out the crowd here. There were 8,000 people there that night, and you got a team from Kentucky and a team from Pennsylvania playing in Kansas.
Steal by Bobby Jones, and Jim Johnson was fouled on the try for the basket. That one wasn't shown. On the next possession, Bobby Jones scores, and it's 24-23, Robert Morris. Here's Johnson again. Perry Johnson busting a long field goal. He would have had some threes, too.
Yes, he would.
Bailey with it. Ragland, Johnson, Hill, Jones, spinning fadeaway jumper is off, but there's Haywood, and the tip didn't go.
Good steal there by Ragland.
Ragland on the side.
Incidentally, this is the first zone we played against. That might have been the reason that we came out a little sluggish, because this was the first zone in the tournament.
There's Jones with another one from the corner. That cut it to 1, 24-23. I'm sorry, we missed a bucket in there, and that was Chris Jones scoring. It's 28-26 right now. I think I inadvertently credited that last basket for PCC to Bobby Jones when it was Jim Johnson. And there's Perry
Perry
Johnson
Johnson
again, 30
again.
to 26. Ragland takes it in the corner to Jim Johnson. It's knocked away. PCC retains possession. That's Bobby Jones. Up, pass underneath. Haywood, no.
Tip
Tip,
in.
yes. And that's 6-2 going against 6-7 and 6-10. Here's a steal by Ragland.
Steal.
Good play. Good D.
That ties it up.
30-30. At that point, you'd made up 12 points in a little over 10 minutes.
It should be pointed out that Sunmaker and Bailey 2 years later played for Western when they finished, Western State University, when they finished third in the nation, 1971.
This is Ketvertis, the 6'10 center. He misses, but they called Rex Bailey for being on the line. Notice how far Rex was standing back that time.
Yes.
Ketvertis converts the second try, and it's 31-30 Robert Morris. Johnson takes the baseline. They cut him off. He gives it out to Haywood, into the lane. The little flip, short, tap. Jim Johnson got the last hand on it, so Robert Morris takes it.
That's Perry Johnson again.
I hate to keep repeating that name, but when you see number 23, you know there's Perry Johnson.
That made it 33-30.
Chris Jones, their 6'5 freshman forward, got a hand on that one, knocked it out of bounds.
It also should be pointed out Bobby Jones played in the NCAA tournament that year of 1971. He played for Drake.
Bobby takes one.
Hits
it's
it.
Good.
33-32, Robert Morris.
We get a free throw here by Joe Butler, reserve guard for Robert Morris, to make it 34-32. That one didn't show on the replay. And then we come down and Haywood Hill gets the bucket. Get a walk call on Jones, PCC's ball. Bobby tries again and gets it. That makes it 38-36. That gives you your first lead of the ball game since 2-0. We won't see any more scoring here because for some reason they missed Ketvertis getting a field goal and Bobby Jones converting a free throw.
Which gave us a lead going into halftime, 39-38.
And that's halftime, 39-38 for PCC. What did you tell the boys at halftime, Sonny?
I doubt that. I really don't remember, other than the fact that we talked about that we'd have to grind out any victory. I think we were ready to play. I thought they were quite relaxed at halftime. I think that, of course, this was our 31st game, and we knew each other pretty well. And most of the time, we just sat around and felt like if we could get a little lead, that we could get them out of their zone and keep those two big guys off the back line, because we would go into our offense against a man-to-man if we get it out of it. And I think you'll see later on that that happened. We talked a little about that, but they felt very confident. They felt like that it would be a close game, but they had an excellent chance to win it. And if there were anything different that I said, I don't remember it.
Okay, 39-38, PCC leads at halftime, and we're ready to go back for the second half of action in the 69 final game. They come out, and the first thing that happens is Cleveland Edwards bangs home a fielder, and they go right back to the lead. That was 11 seconds into the second half, 40-39, Robert Morris. Ragland takes the long one, bounces all the way over the backboard, and Goes back to Robert Morris. Perry Johnson again. That's 42-39. Raglan into Hill, little scoop shot short. Worthman rebounds and Haywood knocks it out of his hands and out of bounds. Nice block by Haywood on the other end. Worthman thought he had a layup. A little bit of sloppy ball handling. Rick finally controls it, takes the shot. It's short.
Tom Yachnich.
Yachnich, right. He gets the tip. And that made it 42-41. Walk call on Robert Morris. We miss 2 free throws and a field goal, and we come back with the score 45-42. Yachnich tries the long one, won't go, and a foul on Haywood Hill. And it's at this point that Worthman goes down and makes the free throw to make it 43-41. Yachnich makes a free throw for PCC to make it 43-42, and Worthman's fielder makes it 45-42. Might point out one of the reasons that they were losing this, they were filming it with a single camera from the press box.
And this was the first year they filmed them in color, by the way.
Raglan, good defense from behind to knock it away. Rick tries again, gets it. That makes it 45-44. With 17:07 to play as we count down. Robert Morris has the ball out on the side. Goes into Ketvertis. He's short. Gets his own rebound and puts it in. 6'10". You would have thought he would have been more of a force in that game than he was, but he...
Well, I think our quickness sort of neutralized him a little bit.
47-44. And here come the Colonials again. Johnson from the corner. Yep.
Another.
49-44. Yachnich, a short one. Nope. Tip, no, and out of bounds. Raglan for the inbound. Bailey out front with it. Jones, Hill.
That was Bailey.
That was Bailey. What was the little guard doing under there with the big guys?
Well, of course, Bailey was a good rebounder, and this, against the zone, oftentimes the off guard would go on that side of the basket, and Bailey got a lot of rebounds from that position. Of course, he was about as tall as Haywood.
Yeah,
he
they
was
were
about
both
6'2". Yeah.
Jump ball.
That's
Worthman at 6'7" against Haywood at 6'2" is no contest.
Except we got the ball.
Good pass underneath. That was Bobby Jones with the look underneath to Haywood. Haywood at the free throw line. Chance for a three-pointer is gone. Bailey to Johnson to Haywood. Nope. Battle for it. Bobby Jones tips it to Raglan, and Raglan takes a shot to the face.
He hits this one to tie it up 49-49.
Bad pass. Haywood gets it. Head to Bailey. Bobby Jones. Good. Another bad pass, and Raglan picks it off. Haywood Hill to Ragland. Tip and Hills follow. Bobby tried a little dipsy doodle there.
I think he had to.
The only way he could get it up.
Yeah.
Johnson. That's the last field goal that Robert Morris is going to score for 5 minutes. Haywood with the scoop shot. Makes it 53-53. 12.5 minutes to play in the game.
I remember this part of the game very well, Glenn, in that, as you mentioned, they didn't score for a while, and we played super and ran out to a 10-point lead.
Gary Sunmaker finally gets back in the ball game. That's him with the ball. They trap him on the side. Johnson, and they call Jim for walk. Batted around. There's Haywood. Nope. Nope. 2 tips and it still won't go. And Gary keeps the action and keeps the defense on the man and makes him drop it out of bounds. Sunmaker came back in with 12 minutes to play in the game and didn't commit another foul the whole way. Johnson, rim's no good. Sunmaker stays up there. They called him for walking, but he got the basket anyway. Offensive foul gives the ball to PCC. Sunmaker underneath the Jones.
I believe that was Hill.
Was it Hill?
Hill hit that one.
He missed the free throw, and Sunmaker gets it. And Gary makes the free throw.
That was a big, big free throw.
That makes it 56-53. He missed the second one. Haywood stood in there and took the charge. He made both those free throws. Second one was not shown. It's 58-53. PCC up by 5. Johnson tries, but it won't go. Haywood with the rebound. There's Bobby Jones again. 60-53. PCC stretches it to 7-point lead with 9:45 left.
You notice we did get them out of their zone when we were making this run.
Chris Jones scored the free throw to cut it to 6, 60-54. There's Jones again.
At this point was when we ran out to the 10-point lead, and our fans, and I believe we had about 100 there in Hutchinson, Kansas, started saying we're number 1, which we still had 6 or 7 minutes to go, and the team sort of relaxed and let them get back in the game.
Well, they've been on a 5-minute scoring drought, and PCC is about to go on a 3-minute drought.
That's right after
Jones gives it to Haywood, and he makes it, and that's the last time PCC is going to score for 3 minutes. They lead 64-54. There's Johnson with the backdoor cut, 64-56. Sunmaker to Jones.
See, our team went into a stall on their own, incidentally. I remember I called timeout, and I reminded them how they got their lead and just go ahead and play the regular way. Of course, they lost all the lead.
Good defense by Sunmaker. He just went down and took it away.
Well, he was capable of doing that.
I think Sunmaker and Jones had about as good a hands as I've seen on players for their size. Bobby just stand there and dare him to come near him.
Oh, yeah. Some of our fans used to say Bobby Jones had played the best, he was the best ball handler on defense because he did have those good hands.
Yeah, they're not even looking to score right now.
No, they went into the stall.
And ball's thrown away and gives it back to Robert Morris. There goes to Worthman. Up, good, and a foul. 64-58. Just a little over 7 minutes to play. Free throw's no good, but Sunmaker chases down the long rebound. Underneath Bailey, and he blew a layup. Worthman gets the rebound, and Robert Morris goes back the other way. Johnson's shot is no good, but we get a foul, and Chris Jones goes to the line for Robert Morris.
Sunmaker was called for traveling then. We didn't get that basket.
Chris Jones with a good rejection there, and he winds up with the ball in the corner. He stepped on the end line. Sunmaker in the lane, puts it up no good, gets his own rebound, fights back, and there's the bucket that breaks the string. That comes at 5:43 and puts PCC up 66-61.
Sunmaker gets a couple real, that was one of them, and another key basket a little bit later on.
And Jones got 2 free throws on that foul call there that weren't shown. PCC now with the ball. Smacked around and they come up with it. Long pass ahead. Worthman's there for the follow. 66-65 now. Here's Johnson in the lane. Knocked away. Jones saves it for him. Jones gets the rebound. That looked an awful lot like an offensive foul to me.
Did.
They didn't call it. And 67-66, Robert Morris. They've got the lead from you. Underneath, Jim Johnson has it stripped, and that was Johnson, Perry Johnson again. His shot's no good. Sunmaker takes it. Here he goes, all the way.
Here's the key. This is it.
Coast to coast.
We regain the lead.
68-67 with 3:53 to play. Worthman throws it back out front, and Bobby Jones gets it. Could that have been when you called timeout?
No, I called it out much earlier than this because I wanted him to get out of that zone. I mean, out of the stall.
Bobby bags it for 3:20 to play, and it's 70-67. They get a field goal out of Chris Jones that we don't see, and then Sunmaker bags one from the top of the circle. And it's 72-69. Indians on top.
That's a key basket there,
right there.
too.
Bobby Jones on a layup. It's a good feed, and I didn't see who did it. Here's a good steal. Bailey to Sunmaker, and the kid, I thought he'd half killed Gary.
I did, too, yeah. It does get quite rough right at the end of the game.
Sunmaker misses the first one, but he gets the second one. And that's 75-69 PCC. I said Gary didn't pick up any more fouls, but he did foul right there. And this is Perry Johnson at the line, and he gets a pair of free throws. That cuts it to 75-71.
And later, which is not shown, is Ragland's score hits 2 free throws, making it 77-71. with 49 seconds left.
PCC's trying right now to put it on ice. Bobby with it out front. Ragland sets a pick for him, turns around and sets another one. Sunmaker has it batted away but gets it back, shovels it outside, and it goes over and back, and they get the ball. Worthman's shot is no good, and there's Sunmaker with the rebound. Ahead to Bailey, to Ragland. He spins. It goes in, but it doesn't count. That's the 2 free throws Rick makes it 77-71. And Edwards scored the field goal to make it 70.
Then they've gone all the way to the end of the game there.
Right.
And the final score was 79-76. Now, I did call a timeout with, that's the Paducah fans right there, by the way. That's all the Paducah fans. But I called a timeout with 15 seconds to go because we had the lead 79-74. And we just let them have the last basket. We didn't want to foul.
This is the naming of the all-tournament team, and that team included Fred Brown, 6'3" guard from Burlington, Iowa. You remember downtown Freddie because he went on and played in the NBA. Mike Johnson, a 6'5" forward from Murray State of Tishomingo, Oklahoma. Perry Johnson, the 6'4" forward that we talked about all night long from Robert Morris. Bobby Jones from PCC. Dennis Layton, a 6'1" guard from Phoenix, Arizona. Bob Nash, a 6'7" center from San Jacinto, Texas. Rick Ragland of PCC, and I don't think there's ever been anybody any more surprised than Rick was when they called his name.
Well, of course.
Took 3 of them to get him up off the floor.
He was the only one surprised because we felt like he should be on there.
Right. Ray Taylor from Robert Morris of Carthage, and Dave Worthman, the 6'7" forward from Robert Morris. And then Ray Willis, the 6'4" center from Hutchinson, Kansas. Johnson got the Charles E. Sesher Sportsmanship Award, and the Bill French Most Valuable Player Award, of course, went to Bobby Jones, and they named our own Sonny Hawes Coach of the Year.
Well, it certainly was quite a thrill, and as you would expect, I have seen this film over and over, not necessarily on camera, but just in my mind, as I'm sure many of the players did.
Was there any one key thing that you thought made the difference in this game? Robert Morris was undefeated. They were 30-0 for this game, and you were 28-2.
Well, if the key thing, and I think their coach brought it up, the fact that we had played a good schedule during the year. We had played good competition and that sort of thing. Back those days, the 4-year schools, if you remember, had the freshman teams, and we played everybody around here that we could, including that year we played the University of Tennessee's freshman team. And the Robert Morris coach mentioned that they just were not able to play the type of competition they thought they ought to play. And obviously they can now, Glenn, because they've gone 4 years, and this year they played in the national tournament and opening up with Arizona. So I believe they found their competition.
I thought if there was one point in the season that really made a difference, you went down and played the freshmen at Memphis State, and they had you down, and tempers flared, and there was a little bit of maybe extracurricular activities, as they like to call it today.
I remember it well.
And you came back and you beat them on their home court down there at Memphis State. And I thought probably if any one point in the season told you could play with anybody, it was that game.
Well, certainly that was part of it. I thought maybe a game in which we lost helped us out. And you'll remember this one, and it was when we went up to Carthage, Illinois, and played Robert Morris of Illinois. And we played without Rick Ragland because at that time he had mononucleosis. And we played well enough to win. We didn't win, as I mentioned, but nevertheless, I think we knew then that we could play with anybody. And during the tournament, the national tournament, the fact that we played Hutchinson on their home court with the sea of red that they had in there and maintained our poise and played and won that game. I think that might have helped us go all the way there. But incidentally, the coach at Hutchinson that year was Gene Cady,
Right.
now the Purdue coach.
Right. And there was one really, really nice thing that came out of that, I thought, because after we beat Hutchinson in that barn burner, 86-85, all of the Hutchinson fans kept coming in the red, but they
Yes.
were all hollering for PCC.
Yeah, they sure did. They were hollering against us when we played Hutchinson, but it just as loud of a hollering for us the next two games. And of course, that helped us get along the way. And the sports writer said something about our team that I still remember, and it said that possibly we didn't have the best talent, but we did have the best team.
And that's evident right here with this trophy sitting between us.
That's quite true. And they were number one, the team was. They worked for it, and they were good citizens representing this community.
Sonny, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's always been a pleasure, and I'll relive it anytime you want to, Glenn.
That's it, 1969, a year to remember for PCC, culminating in the National Junior College Championship in Hutchinson, Kansas.